The drama starts in July 2009 with Sol in the hospital after an accident that makes her wheelchair-bound for the rest of her life. On the radio, a new idol group called Eclipse is being interviewed, and they're calling one lucky fan who will get to speak to the members. Ryu Sunjae is the lead vocalist and visual figure of Eclipse, and he's calling Sol's phone from the radio show. She picks up, but she's never heard of the group and is irritated that such happy people exist in the world when there are people like her who are suffering so much. However, it's pretty obvious that Sunjae already knows her somehow. "Thank you for being alive. Stay alive, because it's so nice outside." To which Sol responds by sobbing her heart out. We then skip to New Year's Eve 2022, where Sol has adjusted to her new life on wheels and become a die-hard Eclipse fan with an expensive Sunjae bias. Her whole room is filled with merch, including a life-size Sunjae cutout, which she sends kisses to on her way to her first-ever Eclipse concert. En route to the show, we get a little exposition about the past. Before she was an Eclipse fangirl, Sol had a crush on some other boy back in high school, and didn't even realize that Sunjae lived across the street. But now she's trying to make up for lost time by looking at Sunjae's high school yearbook pictures. But all this happiness and optimism is about to come tumbling down when a streak of rough events befall our heroine. First, she gets called for an internship interview that she's been waiting for, and even leaves the pre-concert events to attend, only to be told that the facilities aren't wheelchair accessible, and so they won't hire her. Still, our leading lady doesn't let it get her down. She returns to the concert, ready to perk up her spirits, but realizes she's lost her ticket and can't get inside the venue. And yet, this girl still puts on her Sunjae headband and parties outside by herself while the music plays inside. And inside, Sunjae and the boys put on a show that contains so many outfit changes and sweat-dampened dimples. A performance any fangirl would only dream of. After the show, the streak continues. Sol's phone drops on the ground and cracks, and then her wheelchair runs out of battery while she's trying to cross a long bridge. Alone. In the freezing cold. I mean, this day could not get any worse. And so, she cries. But just then, Sunjae is driving by and sees her. He gets out of his van in the most iconic way possible, with an umbrella that he holds over her head against the elements. She looks up in disbelief and he coolly asks what she's doing. "Is your wheelchair broken?" How he's able to make even a line like that sound flirtatious is beyond me. But he pulls it off. Sol is still crying, but this time, it's happy tears. She's smiling and stuttering out that she's a fan, and she wants to say how grateful she is for what he said to her all those years ago on the radio. He made her want to live again. But she doesn't say it. So he doesn't know the impression he made on her life. He offers her a ride just as her friend rolls up to offer her a ride too, and so she goes with her friend, but gives Sunjae a small jar of something that she knows he likes. In the moment, it's not clear exactly what she gave him, but it's a clue that we need to hold on to for later. The drama then takes a dark twist. We learned before the concert that Sunjae wants to retire as an idol, but everyone around him is angry for it and trying to stop him. When we see him after he parts with Sol, there are bottles of pills scattered around his hotel room, and he's standing on the balcony looking ready to jump. There's a splash in the hotel pool, and the next thing we know, Sunjae is being pronounced dead on January 1st, 2023. Sol is one of the first to receive the news, and she goes out to try to find him at the hospital. On her way, she drops the watch she's been wearing, which once belonged to Sunjae, and she paid heaps of money for. In order to retrieve it from the water, she throws herself out of her wheelchair and pulls her body along to get to it. There on the wet ground, sobbing and screaming to Sunjae at his time of death, the watch goes berserk and Sol suddenly wakes up in 2008, in her high school classroom. Everything is just as it was back then. Her legs work. She's in uniform at an all-girls school. First, Sol thinks she's dreaming, so why stay in class? She runs over to find Sunjae, who is alive and well, and on the swim team at the boys' school just across the way. She cries happy tears when she sees him. She grabs his wet, half-naked body in a hug and can't be pushed away even when he tries. "It must have been so hard for you. I didn't know how much pain you were in." Then she looks at his face and tells him she loves him. And well, that gets her dragged out by security. The thing is, she can't figure out why she's not waking up. Maybe she's actually dead? She settles on that idea, and when she sees Sanjay again later in the street, she thinks he's a ghost too. She yells for them to live together, meaning, let's stay alive together. But he thinks she wants to move in together and calls for a taxi to escape. And thus we have our push-pull setup that just keeps getting funnier. Each time Soul tries to get close to Sanjay, she does something to repel him, and there's a hilarious graphic on screen to show how far away he's getting from her every time she messes up. But Soul can't be deterred because she's decided to stick by Sanjay's side and stop him from thinking bad thoughts in order to prevent his death. After we see them stealing glances at each other in a rainy doorway and squabbling back and forth about one thing after another, we learn one rule of this time-skip world. There's no talking about the future. Each time Soul tries to tell Sanjay about what will happen to him, the whole world stops around her and no one hears what she says. She'll have to develop other means. Soul realizes that Sanjay loves swimming, but she knows that he stopped after a shoulder injury in high school. She thinks that if she can prevent him from competing until his shoulder is healed, she can keep him on the team and maybe make him happy and save his life. She goes to great lengths like hiding and getting caught in the locker room hamper to stop him from competing, but can't seem to get through to him. Sanjay is getting all the more perplexed and upset by Soul following him around, but we can also see her fangirling is not one-sided. When she runs into the guy that used to be her crush back in high school, Kim Tae-sung, the guy she was so busy chasing around that she didn't notice Sanjay, the older and wiser Soul can't understand what she saw in Tae-sung back then. But that does not stop Sanjay from being jealous. After another one of their misunderstandings, Soul is walking home already drenched and in the rain. She freezes in fear while attempting to cross a busy road, exposing herself to danger. Sanjay, who had been looking for her at the time, pulls Soul out of the way of oncoming traffic. She's traumatized from the accident that's yet to even happen and collapses in his tight embrace. Turns out that the first time Sanjay ever saw Soul, it was raining, and she's the one that put the umbrella over his head. She also gave him sweets, the same ones that are in the jar she gives him in the future. That is to say, Sanjay started liking candy because she gave them to him. And all those years later, as a fangirl, she knows he likes them, but has no idea it's because of her. He's been harboring a crush on this girl since high school, before she was even a fan, and called her on the phone that day from the radio station because he was happy she was alive. Given that this boy is crushing so hard, and Soul has been ignoring him up until the point she goes back in time, it makes sense that he's confused and so reluctant to show any interest. He doesn't want to get his heart broken. And so, we've got a conflict. Soul wants to get through to Sanjay, to save his life the same way he saved hers, and she has no idea how to do it. Given that she can't tell him what will happen in the future, what methods will she devise? We see the scene of Sanjay's hotel room after his death. Next to the jar of candy that Soul gave him, a photo suddenly appears of our two leads together. It seems the easiest way for Soul to change the future is to simply be by his side. Of course, she's not going to realize that for a while, overthinking how to save him instead of seeing that she herself is the answer. That's it for this recap. Make sure to like and subscribe for more recaps and reviews of your favorite dramas. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Leave your thoughts in the comments and let me know which drama you'd like me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.